cruise news time. Well, to say I'm annoyed could be an understatement, but to be honest, I'm probably more jealous than I am annoyed. Overnight, 2 more cruise lines in the UK announced UK summer cruising, and one of them required a vaccine and one of them doesn't require a vaccine. So the vaccine debate raging heavily in the UK, and it begs the question, what does any of this have to do with cruises out of the US? Well, you know what? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido Loca. Welcome to Friday. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, it's Friday, so let's do something crazy. Let's see how many people we can get worked up in the comments. That's not really my goal. My goal here is to create something out of nothing on a daily basis that informs, educates, hopefully entertains. And so one of the ways that I do that is I sit down or I wake up or however it works. It happens sometime in my waking hours. I ask the question, what are people interested in? Because I want to talk about stuff that you guys are interested in. And probably the most asked question in cruising right now in the United States, when will cruising restart? Will my cruise go on X date? That's a question that nobody really knows the answer to. We rely on our optimism, on our hope, or our pessimism, and we try to give an answer. The second most frequent question is, will there be a vaccine mandate on my cruise out of the US? And for that, we do have some information. Hey, look, I'm going to talk politics. Let's see if we can get everybody riled up. But look, I'm not going to talk politics in a specific party, person way. Let's talk political philosophy in the United States over the history of the country. Right? A big philosophical debate has spanned the history of this country, and it's a simple debate. When you are in power, should you care most about the United States primarily, and then the global community secondly? And then the counter philosophy to that is that we are all a part of a global community, and so should we be global citizens as leaders in the United States? Should we be global citizens and act globally? You can see that play out through history, and certainly in 2020 and 2021 that is the case. In 2020 we had people that were in power that I would say were focused on America primarily, with the global community secondarily, and now here we are in 2021 after a change of leadership, and the leadership now I would say fits in the category of looking to be leaders and good citizens in the global community. Why is that important? Because the policies that are made based on that philosophy will tell you whether or not things that are happening in other parts of the world could apply to the United States. So the UK, a very good ally of the United States, and in a scenario where you have leadership that's looking to act as a global citizen, they are more likely to assimilate or to do what other countries are doing, because it seems like that's what the global community is doing. That is a very, very rudimentary and simple political science breakdown, but I think that's important, because a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't matter what's happening in the UK because this is America. Well, you got to put it in the right context, and the context now is to the people that are making decisions for the rest of the country. Where their mind is at is important, and I do believe that we're in a place where what happens in the UK might be something that happens in the United States. So here we go. UK, all this week, all these cruise lines announcing all these different sailings in the UK for the summer. I'm not going to go through all the different sailings, but let me give you the latest cruise news. Princess last night announced that it will be doing sailings, summer sailings, the same kind of deal, cruises to nowhere, from some place in the UK. Again, we can look up the particulars, but the idea is what is important for today's show. Princess will be cruising from the UK starting in July, and then also announced last night, MSC Cruise Line will be doing cruises from the UK in May. And so a lot more option for UK cruisers as we sit over here going, when we got to get ours? It's coming. I really do think it's coming. But the interesting thing about the Princess announcement and the MSC announcement is their position on vaccines. Princess Cruise Line, a Carnival Cruise Line corporation. Vaccines will be required on these summer cruises on Princess, and then on MSC, they're inviting vaccinated and non-vaccinated people. So no vaccine requirement on MSC. And so early on, it was easy to say, well, all of these cruises that are starting in the UK have a vaccine requirement, hence and therefore and ergo that there will be a vaccine mandate all around the world. But that's not shaking out to be true. We have 3 cruise lines now announcing cruising without a vaccine mandate. So Viking, Fred Olsen, MSC, they're not doing the hard press for a vaccine. Now, keep in mind, all of these cruise lines are still going to do testing. I think testing is going to be here. Again, it's a whole debate. I'm not looking to debate the debatables. I'm just saying this is what the is. Right now, you've got some cruise lines requiring a vaccine, some cruise lines not requiring a vaccine, all cruise lines requiring a test. And, you know, that's the framework that we're working on. So there are signals that there will be information coming out over the next few weeks about how travel is going to play out from the United States. There's even been some signals that the leadership in this country are going to make it possible to travel. Hopefully that trickles down into the cruise space. So it leaves us sitting right in the middle of this debate whether vaccines will be mandated on cruises coming out of the U.S. And the culture in the U.S. certainly different than the culture in the U.K. Again, we can all play in the same sandbox, but there are some cultural differences. The United States, I would say we're a little more boisterous. We may be a little more litigious. We're happy to assert our rights and go to court for them. And so there's a pretty strong undertone of people that I see in the comments that I talk to in life that really say we're going to have to test out whether a vaccine mandate is legal. I think that businesses operating in the United States are going to be very cautious about mandating a vaccine. As private businesses, I think they would be able to mandate a vaccine, but again, I think this is going to be hashed out possibly in the courts. And so if you're a business that hasn't been running for 13 months or 15 months by the time, or 18 months by the time all of this starts up, then maybe you're looking for the path of least resistance. And MSC certainly has presented that over in the UK, saying that we're just going to leverage our health protocols. If you're vaccinated, great. If you're not vaccinated, great. It could be interesting. Early on, when the health protocols are being developed, the cruise line said they would not compete over health protocols. It begs the question, if some cruise lines have a vaccine mandate here in the US and some don't, is that competing over health protocols? These are all businesses acting independently. They have to make the best decision. And it's certainly possible at some point their unity will be broken, right? That they will diverge from a common idea. So what's the nuggets? What's the big takeaway? I guess you could have just skipped to this part of the video. The big takeaway for me is I see that cruises, all of these cruise lines starting up in the UK, being a positive thing for cruising out of the US. I do believe that we're in a position with leadership that would be open to emulating what other countries are doing. Secondly, I don't think there's enough clues out there to understand what the vaccine policies are going to be for the US. I think the cruise lines, they have an idea. They're probably holding it tight. They're probably trying to gauge what they can do. They got their lawyers working on it. And at some point we'll know. And it would be interesting if we end up with cruise lines that mandate it and then cruise lines that don't. It would be interesting to see how people are super loyal to cruise lines. It will be interesting to see if people, change their loyalty based on this vaccine question. At the end of the day, I continue to be optimistic that we're getting closer to cruising because we see cruising happening somewhere else. Boom, that's your cruise news. Time to sound off. Cruising in the UK. What does it mean for cruising in the US? And what's going to happen with vaccines? Let's talk about it. Watch this video. Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.